This video is sponsored by Factor. So, this is a funky one you probably never saw coming. And granted, one I never saw myself doing. But there was a comment I read that said, would love to see you do Battlefront 2 just to watch you torture yourself finding wins. And I took that as a challenge, so buckle up babies, this one was interesting. This phrase, text, and color will never not be a win. You think there was a clause when adopting the Star Wars license about having your stories opening on the stars and panning down?
She's highly trained. Deception, infiltration, extraction.
All three things she's about to whip out on you. Really not too surprised that the Empire came to power so easily.
You know we can really use someone like you.
Rebel Versio shadowing.
My best technicians are slicing into your droid right now.
I'd like to sentiment at how much Iden cares for her droid, even if she only refers to them as droid. It's pretty neat that we don't start out in some bombastic battle, but just as some tiny little chihuahua droid sneaking around to find mommy. Man, did droid seem so much bigger when we were playing as them. Oh, baby, do I always love seeing Akbar. Man, this type of maneuver is straight out of something we'd see Master Chief do. Makes me like Inferno Squad that much more. Alongside Finn, Inferno Squad are some of the first of the Imperial Army to take off their helmets. At least, that we see in media. You know what I mean. There was an entire conversation among the devs about having the helmets on or off, and there's a great argument for both. On one hand, it immediately humanizes them and helps us relate and understand Iden's struggle. But then there's the other side, such as Vader, to bring out that cold, menacing villain. But then there's Mando, who straddles the line perfectly, and we're able to project our feelings and selves onto him, much like we can Master Chief.
Mission accomplished, Commander.
0 casualties.
For you!
Hope the landing wasn't too rough.
Been through worse. Remember the Job S incursion?
Some quick history building. A simple technique, but quite effective. And speaking of simple and effective, I want to take some time to talk about today's sponsor, Factor. Factor is a meal delivery service, but not like you might think. Factor gets down to brass tacks when it comes to your weekly meals. They deliver nutritious, healthy meals ready to eat in just minutes, with no prep, no cleanup, no fuss, so you can spend that time on the important things. Like for me, I've been eating my meals all week, and it's freed up so much time I can focus on making more videos for you guys. Not only convenience do they offer, but also highly customizable meals for all your dietary needs. Keto, vegetarian, vegan, low-cal, the world's your oyster with Factor. And if you're a picky eater like me, you don't need to worry. Over 27 different types of meals are rotated in and out weekly, so you'll be hard-pressed to find something you don't like. And it's not just meals. You can add on all sorts of other things like keto shakes, smoothies, and desserts. So try Factor and take your time back for the things that really matter. And use my link or go to go.factor75.com and use my code POGGAMINGW120 for $120 off across 5 boxes. Now, where were we?
Today, the rebellion dies.
Man, was I excited for a Holy Empire-centric soldier story. But what we got, I swear, is so much better. More on this later. How cool is it that DICE recreated this shot almost perfectly to really cement us on where exactly we are on the indoor battle timeline? Yo, check it out. It's not totally not Krennic. Stuff like this, when we see past events we know expanded upon, is the best when done well. Star Wars has been nothing but constant fleshing out of the universe, and it's one of the few properties that I feel belongs to everyone in the way that it's been built. What I mean is, Tolkien and his son are basically the sole proprietors of the Lord of the Rings mythos. George R. R. Martin is about the only writer on his books. These worlds are being crafted with a single visionary, whereas Star Wars has exchanged so many hands, and because of that, we've gotten to see many different types of stories, tones, and games that we may never had if George held on to the license forever.
Return to the Corvus. The Emperor's plan must not fail.
At first glance, you might think not Krennic was talking about Palpatine's plan to turn Luke, but it's actually Operation Cinder, and definitely not Krennic knows the Death Star is lost and must shift focus. Boy, is it about time I mention how beautiful this game is. The Frostbite engine is really something else, delivering Unreal 5 type visuals as far back as Battlefront 1.
Today we wipe out that scum once and for all.
You just had to say something. Seeing this explosion as just some other troopers on the ground goes a long way in highlighting just how truly horrifying Lando's destruction of the Death Star really is. As we've all started memeing about for a while now, there were countless innocent people on board there, but since they were under the Empire, they deserved to die. Best part of Battlefront 2 is highlighting how good decent people might end up serving.
I don't understand how this happened. The trap was perfect.
Someone made a mistake. High Command overlooked something crucial again.
To us, it's so simple. The Death Star was in the middle of construction, so of course Lando was able to get inside the reactor. But to our boys in red, they've been fed so much propaganda that they believed themselves unbeatable, even after the destruction of the first one. Goes to show how much of a follower we could be in our nature. There was something surreal about fighting alongside stormtroopers in the context of the actual canon of the universe.
We weren't expecting special forces. That's the point, Sergeant.
Hask is an ass.
Secure those ties.
Yes, Mom.
Okay, you motherfuckers. I hear and get it now. Just like George and Reach, their accents make ma'am sound like mum. But it sounds like mum, and that's funny.
Someone told me once that rebellions are built on hate.
I like that hate versus hope debacle when it comes to rebellions. Both are 100% correct and valid. It all comes down to the individual on where they fall. You going to rebel for the hope of a better future, or are you going to hate and destroy the systems around you that are built up at the cost of many, many lives? Which is exactly what Rose was trying to convey to Finn in The Last Jedi, however clumsy it felt. Something that DICE never failed to do is bring us some stellar sound design. From the iconic TIE Fighter SFX to my favorite, any explosion, it all just sounds so good.
So what happens now?
We retaliate, Commander.
Damn, are the facial animations so on point. It's the most subtle little smirk that you can see come through on Iden when Director K says, retaliate. She's living for some payback right now. When I first saw this, I was like, really? DICE made up this weird messenger guy to let Palpy live on? When in reality, one of the first new canonical comics, Shattered Empire, introduced the messenger in Palpy's contingency plans, which was released way back in 2015. I don't want to give Disney too much credit, but I guess the Emperor's Return was heavily foreshadowed? I guess? Ooh, now that's a slick transition. Something I wasn't expecting was the balance between space and land battles. I often forget this as Star Wars and not Land Wars. The ship combat was never something I did back when the multiplayer was popping, which is a shame because it's surprisingly fun.
Clear, we should attack the rebel cruiser. How would I do that, Agent Hask, seeing as my ship is disabled?
Some things never change, such as the Empire having arrogant assholes for admirals.
If the Empire's here, what I sensed was true.
This is why I love this man. This is the perfect impression of Mark Hamill, and our lovely critter DM Matt frickin' Mercer voices him. Damn. I've heard that the breaks to play some hero characters rub people the wrong way because we should have followed Ida and her story the whole time to get invested in her. But I'll counter and say these breaks are super welcome as they still matter for the main story and it's just fun to play as some badasses. And there's nothing like the power fantasy of being a Jedi just mowing down soldiers. Something I've always loved about Battlefront multiplayer is if you've got a hero character in your face, you're pretty much fucked. And rightfully so. Coming off the heels of playing a regular character too makes this Luke break even sweeter and can really feel his power.
I know who you are. Why'd you help me?
Because you asked.
Man, a true Jedi through and through. It's enough to make a grown man cry.
That won't do it. This will. No, wait!
And if we weren't sure that Luke is the best, he knows better and shows his patience that his father mentioned about some ray shields a few decades ago. I'm easy to please. I see Force being used plus Force theme, monkey brain happy. And if we were still to subscribe to the idea that the Force is some ancient religion to these people, Dell's reaction is the perfect showcase of that.
My back, then I'll watch yours.
Yeah, I don't have much of a choice.
That's so interesting that Dell says that, as he previously mentioned that the Jedi terrified him. Now he feels forced to help Luke under his perceived threat of death, playing into that Empire propaganda theme.
All of it.
Ooh, just those repeating horns of the Imperial March, not able to find and complete its melody, as a Jedi has now gained control of the compass to found the first new Jedi temple. Which brings me to how intertwined this game really is with the sequel trilogy. Not so overt in ways to overshadow the main narrative at hand, but just enough to make this universe feel greatly connected and make me appreciate the sequels more.
My mission is to destroy this place. Why would I let you do that?
Because I asked.
Callback. And look at Luke already being a teacher. Made better because it's with the enemy.
A choice?
The rebellion?
No. A choice to be better.
I really love the dialogue surrounding Luke. Not so one note about the rebellion is right, Empire bad, but being much more nuanced in that path people should take. Better can mean so many different things for everyone. Just so happens Dell's better is the New Republic.
This is our home.
The Empire is our home.
The relationship between these two is something I wish we got more of, but what we get here is still some really interesting stuff to chew on. These two are father and daughter, but also admiral and subordinate, and the question arises, when do we rescind orders for family and the ones we love? Just look at what happened to Vader. It's a very similar dynamic here. and also about holding on to the past, power, and not relinquishing control. I feel Garrick says the Empire is their home as he feels without it he has nothing. The heartbreaking reality is something we saw in Invincible, with Mark telling Omni-Man, "I'd still have you." And Garrick sadly can't see that.
Do you still remember your way, Commander?
Hask's question has got a double meaning. One, for, where they're going. But two, about where her loyalties lie.
This is not our mission.
Stand down.
The delivery from Janina Gavnikar is just perfect. Blending confusion and upset perfectly. I just used that word. Sorry, aha. My English teacher is writhing in her grave. She's not dead yet, but you know what I mean.
Empire's job is to save civilians from things like Operation Cinder.
Oh. Not really, no. But the fact that even high commando units like Inferno Squad believes this truth of the Empire paints them as much more threatening, even after they've been temporarily destroyed. Super simple but neat having Item never wear her helmet after this treason. For as impractical as a walking tank may be, DICE does a great job at really selling just how powerful these cannons are in a way not felt too much in the ESB. Yo, seeing a Duru that's not Cad Bane is so cool.
What can I say? I'm a big believer in second chances.
Definitely referencing him and Han's relationship, especially considering what he did on Bespin.
What's it going to be?
Woo! Question answered by the cut. Reading the Emperor's homeworld really makes this operation sting even more, and it highlights just how kind of nuts he was, willing to destroy his own planet to maintain his empire. Sound like anyone else we know in this story? Yo, Leia's outfit is perfect. Wearing that white outfit that her mother wore in Attack of the Clones with a nice little Han jacket. Aw, catch your new pal's little buddy.
Done a lot of damage to this alliance.
Yes, we have, ma'am. And there's no excuse for it.
Owning up to your actions. You know, I can always appreciate developers having their enemies actually come from a source rather than just appear from nowhere.
Senator Organa sent us.
I take it back, Chewie. This is the worst day imaginable.
Finally, some more context-ish about their breakup between 6 and 7.
Maz is on the comm. I don't want to talk to her right now.
Han Solo.
Hey, Maz.
It's not an easy thing to pull off Harrison Ford's charm, but Lex Lang does a really great job bringing that to the forefront. Or would you say Battlefront? Ah, Droid got a little paint job from his new buddies. Look at Droid in the back there messing with Shriv. So cute.
And may the Force be with you.
Hey, Del picked up a thing from Daddy Luke.
Wow, take a look at all these build-ups.
I think it's cute you study a planet's wildlife before we visit.
Flirting.
I really thought about it. A life of Imperial training isn't worth much in the civilian sector.
Damn, ain't that the truth. Come in, fight our wars, and once you're back home, good luck acclimating. I love how much the Bad Batch and that one scene in Kenobi highlights this.
I want to see them when they're free.
That actually sounds really nice.
This is 100% some cute first date banter.
We picked up the Corvus the second it slipped through the blockade.
AKA, the Princess is in another castle. Leave it to Inferno Squad to use a cloud car to take down 3 destroyers.
I've called in some help to guarantee we do. Shriv, you'll be on the ground with General Calrissian.
Oh dang, Iden's already calling the shots at the man who destroyed a Death Star?
You have a bad feeling about this.
All it takes is one moment for something to stick. Wonder if there is a clause about this line, just like with the opening.
Can you move? Your cape is in my way.
Is that a cape or are you just happy to see me?
You have no sense of personal space.
But I have a great sense of style.
No doubting that, especially Glover's Lando.
So we'll steal the weapons and shut down the factory. Easy enough.
That's what you said about rescuing Han Solo from Jabba's palace.
To be fair, that plan in Jabba's palace was the most whack plan I've ever seen. This mission is called Cash Grab, and I can't help but win the wordplay, especially considering we're empty-handed.
If I die here, I'm glad you will too.
Oh my god, yes! Subverting the trope and staying in line with Shriv's character.
Sure, I have a ship to come back to.
Hey, Shriv, I hope you survive this incredibly dangerous mission as well. Thank you, Del. Your friendship means everything to me.
Can we get a Shriv spinoff, please?
Today, the Empire dies.
Reverse callback to when she wished the rebels' extinction.
You get my dad.
Iden, he's not worth it.
I have to try, Del. Now go.
I'm with Del. Garrick didn't give 2 licks about Iden, but that's what makes her our hero. I'll always enjoy the pull out or in to show off scale. Boy, does Battlefront 2 have so much in common with the sequel trilogy, even when this came out before the rise of Skywalker.
This is a rescue attempt. I politely decline.
What a douche. But on the other hand, honorable. Captain must go down with his ship.
It's better than this.
No, I don't, but you do, Aiden. You deserve to live in peace. Go. Survive. Live.
It's some kind of redemption, but more of accepting one's fate and what he is, and accepting those consequences. I'm of the hopeful mindset that we always get to come back, but I know that there are some people who are too far gone, and that's not possible, and they need to get what they deserve. Such as here. Watching her and the Empire not even fight once the ship goes down is great. Reminds me of how, especially in olden time warfare, not many battles were won by complete annihilation, but through routing the enemy. Man, people stay be surviving crazy crash landings on Jakku. I'm a big fan of the emphasis on this little arm grab, mirroring the one with her father that he rejected. It's a short campaign, but little direction like this shows DICE cared at least a little. Star Wars score. I don't think I need to say anymore. This is the crowning thing that Battlefront 2 offered, was some much needed context about what happened between episodes 6 and 7, seeing the fall of the Empire remnants, and most importantly, how the heck that Death Star that Rey raids ended up on Jakku. One more time, if you told me that this was a live-action shot, I would believe you. This shot in particular looks absolutely breathtaking. I love the Dutch angle that comes in as Kylo is probing his mind. Just some great camera to show what's happening to Del's mind rather than telling. And as we reverse back to Kylo, the shot recenters to who's in control. This is such an interesting take on what a Force user must do to probe certain memories, almost like Kylo is combing through his memories to find the one he needs. You think Hask used the most popular dark side power of just being too angry to die?
You traded in your weapon. For what? Fatherhood.
Aw, they fell in love and had a baby.
We all change, don't we? Hey? And look at you. You used to be dead.
Even in the face of death, he's cracking jokes. Be angry all you want, Hask, but that's some bravery right there.
But leave the Corvus alone.
You know what will lead her back here?
I'm planning on it.
Sequel baiting. Does that count as a win? I'm winning it. And I didn't do the DLC here, and for all its faults, at least it tries to shore up some details about how the First Order came to rise. Should we have had these in the film? Yeah, but hey, we got an interactive medium to show us that, so that's cool, I guess. So just a short little sweet one for you this time around. We all know this campaign was made out of the complaints levied at the first game. It was nothing but a way to shut us up. The campaign is not where the money is, so of course they were just going to shit some 3 to 5 hour experience to appease those people. And that's a damn shame, because had this script not been rushed and more focused on the themes of government propaganda, family, and having free will, I think they could have had something really special here. And it makes me even more sad since what we got really wasn't that bad. Amazing voice acting, solid gameplay, a beautiful looking game, all while staying faithful to the Star Wars mythos. I'm sure we all know about the infamous multiplayer on launch and the amazing resurrection of it. There are so many videos talking about it, and it's another shame that EA decided to stop supporting the game, because it was on the rise to have years of life left. Imagine how many heroes and special characters we could have gotten. Rex, Mando, Bo-Katan, if they wanted to get really wacky, Grogu. But sadly, that's not the case, and we just have to hope and pray whatever shooter Respawn is working on turns out to be a banger. With Respawn's track record, I have high hopes. What do you think of Battlefront 2's campaign? Like it? Hate it? Let me know down below. Remember, drive the speed limit, drink some water, love one another. Pizza!